All right. Good afternoon. I feel like in the spirit of Halloween, I should let out like an evil laugh. My kids would die if they heard me do that. So no, thank you very much for attending this session. My name is Beth Unger, and over the next 30 minutes, you are going to hear about a study that my team we performed to study the ready-mix driver shortage. Now, one of the things that I learned during this project is they are far more than just a driver. They're an operator. So right now, throughout the presentation, you are going to hear me refer to them as a CDP or a concrete delivery professional, not a ready-mix driver. So right now, it's fairly dire. About 1/3 of the CDPs that were hired in 2021 are quitting. And typically it's connected to inconsistent scheduling and as a consequence the hiring pool is too small and producers are turning away business. So even though the concrete industry is growing over the past 5 years, 70% of the companies reported lost business due to the CDP shortage. So what was really neat about this study is we're really filling a major gap because there's tons of studies that have been performed on the long haul industry, but really there's nothing really has been extensively, I'm going to put my water down right there, but I had a Reese's peanut butter cup before presenting, terrible idea. So we performed this comprehensive analysis to fill this gap. And so we did several things. We analyzed over 36,000 deliveries to identify opportunities for productivity. We also engaged with MIT's Center for Transportation and Logistics Freight Lab. We conducted interviews with CDPs. We spoke to operation managers, nonprofit dispatchers, and the idea was to gain a full understanding of the CDP position and technology. And from there, we took all of that information and we were able to construct a ready-mix plant simulator. And that enabled us to estimate the cost of hiring or not hiring and retaining and increasing CDP productivity. And finally what we did was we constructed and deployed a unique national CDP survey. And so, what has been studied, it's typically going out and talking to the operations managers. And this was an opportunity to hear from CDPs themselves. So this was a really neat analysis because it's simple but powerful. And so what the team did was they analyzed over 36,000 deliveries. And what they wanted to do was they wanted to look at all of the tasks that it takes to deliver all of the tasks and the average time it takes for those tasks to make one delivery. And so as you can see, it takes on average about 120 minutes per delivery. And so with this data set, on average, there were about 3.1 deliveries. Now, when we think about frictionless changes for 10% improvement, and actually let me say why that 10% is, why we're highlighting that number, is because the national vacancy rate for CDPs is 10%. So we wanted to think about this, well, how can we increase productivity? And so we were looking at this, and so for example, from the time that the truck leaves the hopper and is sitting there, there's that time where they're washing the trucks. And so if we reduce this, shorten this delivery time, this non-value add time by, only 12 minutes, in theory, we could be eliminating the shortage. So one of the things that we also, we constructed a representative case of our own MIT CS Hub ready-mix plant simulator. And that was to estimate the cost of hiring and not hiring. Because, what we discovered in these interviews is that, all of the producers are coming in different shapes and sizes, and a lot of the smaller concrete producers, they just don't have the data. And if you would ask them, well, what's the average cost that you're spending to hire or replace a CDP? It was just, honestly, sometimes it was, I think on average maybe 8,000. And so there wasn't any data behind that, those estimates. So what we did was we created this simulator where we've got 50 trucks in our yard, and we're looking at the hiring rate, our exit rate. We also looked at productivity, and because each CDP is going to be different. If we're hiring someone who already has ready-mix experience and has CDL, they're going to be ramping up and automatically delivering more than a person who does not have a CDL and does not have ready-mix experience and coming in. So we're looking at that. And so those were some of the input. And we're looking at the direct costs that are associated with hiring and leaving. And then also then the indirect costs. And so the indirect cost would be the revenue loss from the trucks just sitting in the yard and not making deliveries. And then also the revenue loss from reduced CDP productivity. So what we're doing here, and the purpose is that we're building this argument saying, yes, we can all, we know that we need to expand the candidate pool, but here's why. And so, what we're saying is that, yes, if if you see that the average number of hires here, let's say we're at 17, and we, we're able to recruit more, and we increase our average hiring rate to 20, yes, our direct costs are going to increase. But if you look at that right axis, the foregone loss in lost loads is much greater. And so the message is that it's, and it's validating what is already known, is that even if that person does not have any ready-mix experience, it's better to have those trucks, moving and making deliveries. The other thing too is that, a lot of the CDPs, when they start, they quit. And they make it to about 40% of the new hires quit in the 26th week. And so what we're looking at is that we wanted to say, all right, well, what happens to, the gains in net revenue when we're increasing retention? And so if you're looking at this plot, that line that's going straight down through the zero, that's right there, that's marking the 26th week. And so what we're showing and what we discovered here is that every additional week of average retention generates about a 1% gain in net revenue. And also there's a lot of value for many reasons, just from experience and increased productivity, that increasing the new hire tenure by about 35% provides the same value as doubling the hiring rate. I do want to, emphasize this point, is that these numbers, this is for our mixer plant. This is this is for our plant that has, 50 trucks in the yard and our hiring rate. So this is our simulator that we built to show the, validate or justify, increasing the candidate pool with those who do not have experience, and finding solutions that, are for increased retention. And so, our charge in this was to look at this problem and think about technology and how technology can, transformative technology, how this can, reduce the shortage. And so there's a lot of apprehension about investment because of the tight labor market. And so we held a workshop, and so there's a lot of hesitation to take the plunge and buy this and buy into investing into technology. And so about a 1% gain in productivity yields about a 1% increase in net revenue. And so what we're saying here is that if, let's say that we're able to bump up, productivity, by 10%, because let's say that the company has invested in an automatic truck washer. And so rather than spending 15 minutes washing the truck before it leaves the yard, it's now reducing that. So a plant could invest more than 5% of its expected annual net revenues in new technology for every 1% gain in productivity and still come out ahead. So this was my favorite part of the study here, and that was constructing a survey. And so that meant it was hearing directly from the CDPs. And so what we wanted to know is, we definitely want to fix the things that are broken and find the things that are working well. And so that's how the survey was constructed, in that we said, tell us what you hate about your job, and then how would your satisfaction change if this happened? And so we really had, I was really pleased with the results. So this was deployed, across the U.S., and we had over 500, responses, but there were about 440 that at 100% completion. So, right now, the things that, when asked about the things that contribute the most to job satisfaction, there were three themes that emerged. There was the scheduling and the management, not being recognized, and responsiveness of management, and also the physical job requirements. And so for example, what I said earlier was, so if they said, okay, scheduling brings me, is something that contributes to my dissatisfaction, then there was a question. The next question is, well, how much would your satisfaction increase if you had more control over your daily start and stop times? And as you can see, it doesn't matter how long the person had been a CDP. The response was significantly or a lot. So now we can't talk to the CDPs who quit. So the next best thing was to try to figure out what is going on in the first year. Why are they quitting? And so we asked them, what are the most challenging first year CDP tasks? And so what we learned is, that the first year CDPs, that they are, driving off-road and placing concrete for more challenging pours. That is tricky. And then also dealing with the contractor and learning the properties of concrete. And, I did do a couple of ride-alongs here in Boston. And, the trucks some of them are manual, older, and if you're doing a curbing job, it's a lot. It's a lot. And then you've got the traffic. There's a lot coming at you. And so the idea is, well, how can we use technology to make this job better for them? And so these responses underscored where we need to prioritize effort and think about how, these are the places where we need to push in technology, and how can we do that? So there were three major levers to address this, and so we're in recruitment, retention, and productivity. And so there's many solutions that are available. And so first of all, just changing the perception of the job, so removing the word driver from the job title, and being able to adopt technology into these tasks. And I'm going to skip here, by using automation. So for example, automated chutes. I know that technology is still developing, or that there's problems with it, but it has the opportunity to help reduce the physical demands of the job, which is something that the CDPs said that's something that brought them dissatisfaction. And also it helps with expanding the candidate pool for those, rather than carrying around those steel chutes, if the chutes are automated, that is a way to expand the candidate pool. For learning, For learning, there's a lot of neat things that can be done is because right now the training is not standardized. Somebody just walks into the job and, depending on their experience, and also then they're given a mentor. And so it seems like there's a blind spot that's occurring with the training, and that someone is becoming frustrated, and it makes sense that they are quitting because they've got a lot coming at them. There's the dealing with the contractors, the job sites, driving the truck, operating the truck, and the physical demands and the inconsistent scheduling. And so there's a lot of neat things that can be done with gamification and helping that with learning outcomes. And also with the operation managers with a coming up with a standardized skill set and competencies that are connected to this career. The other neat thing that we are investigating here is using a bidding app for the ready mix industry. And so they do this for pilots and also in nursing. So somehow creating this, but this would be a long-term solution. But right now, there's a dearth of data out there, and so we need for the CDPs, and so increasing driver management engagement. So when we're getting feedback from the CDPs that we're digitizing this, and so that it would to have a CDP data hub would allow scientists to come and perform empirical analyses to also help predict when CDPs are going to quit or identify other indicators when they're happy, sad. So anyways, let's see here. The career pathway. So the skill sets, developing skill sets for the CDP and others that work at the plant as well. There can be augmented reality. They're doing this in manufacturing, which is really neat, to help improve efficiency, and automation and robot assist technology, such as the automated chute. The other thing too is managing customer demand. So we learned in the interviews that many customers will overorder. And so developing a tool that predicts the customer demand and CD supply and enabling a surge pricing during unfavorable shift times. So right now, additional research and outreach that can help address the CDP shortage. We need to continue to raise awareness, create a common platform for concrete operation simulation, and understanding the value of new solutions. So there are those who who are early adopters of this technology, and so performing case studies on that would be helpful for others to see the benefit of adopting these technologies that can increase recruitment, retention, and productivity. And also communities of practice has been very helpful in that, inviting people from nonprofits, those who work with the folks who have been incarcerated, nonprofits, veterans. So anyway, I'm going to end there because didn't have a lot of time. So my name is Beth, and my team was Liz and Randy.